Leading a band, it's one of the most difficult and rewarding challenges out there. Let's talk today about the ups and downs of being a great band leader. Hey there, welcome to Nashville Artist Development University, where we provide artists with education and resources to create a full-time music career and a healthy life around music. My name's Corey Brunson. I've been a full-time musician, performer, and recording artist for the past 20 years. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our future releases. And of course, check out all the information at naduniversity.com in the link below. Okay, being a great band leader, managing people. This is one of the most difficult, if not the difficult parts of what it means to be a successful artist, musician. It drives us crazy. This player's got this problem. This player's cat's got a problem. This player's girlfriend's got a problem. This player's boyfriend's got a problem. I just want to play music. Why am I having to deal with all this stuff? Right? And being a great band leader, what does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the lack of information that's available if you go to a college or just out in the world in general, it drives me crazy. It's one of the biggest things that we have in our industry, one of the biggest challenges that we have. And yet there's hardly any information about it. So let's talk about this today. What does it mean to be a great band leader? Okay, number one, first, accept it. Don't fight it. If you need to be the leader of your band, even if there's a lot of collaboration can be good, especially depending on who you're collaborating with. But if you are the leader in your band, and you probably are, if you're the lead singer, artist, that this whole thing is built around, just accept that that's what you're doing. Don't shy away from it. Don't try to downplay it. Don't be like, well, I just want to be everybody's friends. We do want to be people's friends. We want to be nice. We want to be liked. But this whole thing is going to crash down, or maybe you've already experienced this. It crashes down when that's your only goal, and being a leader is something that you're just not willing to accept. You're going to have to lead this. This is your life, your career, your business. You're the entrepreneur. You're the artist. You've got to be the leader. So accept it. That's step number one. That can be difficult for some of you at times, but you have to do that. And it's actually for the betterment of yourself and for everybody involved. Number two, after you've accepted it, grow, learn, be the best leader you can be. With accepting that you're a leader, you also have to accept that you have flaws and that you're gonna make mistakes, and you've got to give yourself that grace. But what can you do? You can be the best leader that you can be by learning, growing, reading. All right. We have several books that we recommend. The amount of books out there on leadership are endless, but I'm going to give you a few. Okay. The first book, Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun. Crazy title, right? People think Attila the Hun, that's blah, blah, blah. It's actually a really great book. And there's a lot of great quotes and information in that book that you will directly apply to leading your band and leading your company. Another great one, Power of Positive Thinking. This is a universally acclaimed book that if you haven't read it, you need to read it. It just keeps you in the mindset of being a positive leader, not a flighty leader like, oh, sunshine, roses, and rainbows. No, it's not that. But it's an in-depth way of being a positive leader. And that's what we all want to be. If we're going to be a leader, we don't want to be a negative one. We want to be a positive leader. So Power of Positive Thinking, read that one as well. Another book I would recommend, Good to Great. Now, this is something I've actually named my entertainment company after. They had a concept in there called the flywheel effect. I'll give you a little summary of it. So think of a flywheel, a big heavy flywheel in a piece of machinery, right? It's a big piece of weight that goes around. And once you start spinning it, it kind of keeps its momentum. But starting that flywheel out, maybe where you're at right now, pushing it back and forth and getting it rocking and moving can be a lot of work. And that's kind of where most artists are at. They're in that very beginning phase of getting that. Once that flywheel starts to go over the top and goes again and goes again, you still have to kind of keep nudging it to keep it going. But once your business, your career, and your art is up and moving and spinning, just like that flywheel, it's much easier to keep going. And I loved that concept. And it was an important one for me to get early in my career. And so I got that from that book, Good to Great. So it's another one I would recommend that you read. I'm currently right now reading Never Split the Difference. Why am I still reading it 20 years into my career? Because we never stop learning as leaders. As a leader of your band, as a leader of your company, a leader of your career, we never stop learning. I'm about halfway through it. I'm loving that book so far. The people I've known that have read Never Split the Difference say that it's great. I'm enjoying it so far. So there's 4 books right there that you can just dive right into and start reading and growing. It's a daunting thing to think about being a leader. And even as I've seen other artists, like John Bon Jovi comes to mind now, he's led that band and led that company, millions of dollars, millions over the years. the pressure that he's had to take on. He's had to grow as a person and as a leader. He wasn't like that when he was 18 years old and releasing his first single, Runaway. He had to learn and grow, and there's pressure with all that, right? And we don't want that pressure. I don't want that pressure. I'm sure you don't. How do we offset that pressure and turn that pressure into a calm confidence? I believe it's through reading, learning from others, go through naduniversity.com, growing yourself as a business person and growing yourself as a leader. And those are 4 books that'll really help you do that. So another thing about being a great leader, you have to accept it. You have to grow, read, learn, become a better leader. One of the things you have to do is clear communication. This is one that most leaders mess up early on in their career. When people work with you, they can kind of deal with about anything, but they don't like surprises and they don't like confusion. That creates a lot of anxiety with people, probably does for you as well. So really focusing on clear communication. One of the books I mentioned, Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun, gave me an invaluable principle from that book. It said a Hun, or a worker or a subcontractor, somebody you're working with, leading, a Hun that is not told what is expected of them is likely to do something unexpected. Now, early in my career, early in my leadership journey, when I would expect people to do things and they would do something I didn't expect, I would just get upset and mad and go, "Why did you do that? I didn't want you to do that." And I was wrong. I was not being a great leader because they would come back and go, "You didn't tell me." Okay. Now, there is a balance between micromanaging and setting expectations, but I want to challenge you to really be clear in your communication. And remember that musicians, band members that are not told what's expected of them are likely to do something unexpected of them that you may not like, and it's your fault. As the leader, it's our fault. If my drummer shows up in blue jeans and I didn't specify in the event details that I need everybody to dress formally, that's my fault. That's not his fault. And I can sit there all day and go, "Well, you should have known, and you should have known, and you should have known." There are basic expectations and basic things I need to communicate in order for them to do that job correctly. Okay. And that's on me. So as a leader, I found it very helpful and works out really, really well over the years. And I attract great players and great people when I communicate really, really well with expectations. I'm not going to tell a guy how to tune his guitar or somebody how to hold a drumstick. That's micromanaging. And there's a balance with all that, as I said before, but I'm going to give them every detail that they need to be successful and to meet my expectations and to meet the client's expectations and to meet the expectations of the brand of the product that I'm out there doing with my art. Makes sense? So clear expectations, clear communications, be as detailed as you can be. People like to know what they need to know and the information that they need to have to be successful, to make you happy. And they don't like feeling like they don't know how to be successful. So if you want to attract the best players, you want to be a great leader, give that clear communication, those expectations. They will love you for it. Okay, the next one. This one is very difficult emotionally. And the next one is nip problems in the bud. Okay? Don't wait for problem people to grow into bigger problems. Okay? Another book that I read that I mentioned here, Good to Great, is an invaluable concept. Get the right people on the bus being your career. Get the right people on the bus. Here it is. Get the wrong people off the bus. Okay? And get the people on the bus in the right seats. That's the concept from that book. That's why these books are so important. Now think about that. Why do you have to get the wrong people off the bus? Because if you have the right person on the bus in your band, and you bring in someone who's the wrong person, what's going to happen if you leave that situation and don't nip it in the bud? The good person is going to leave because this person is toxifying everything because they're the wrong person and you're not doing anything about it. And it's not the other band member's job to be the leader to do something about it. It's your job to have a very uncomfortable conversation with that person that's in the band that doesn't need to be there. Doesn't give you the right to be disrespectful to people, does not give you the right to devalue someone as a human being, does not give you the right to be an a-hole. It only gives you the right to make a change for the betterment of your business and to be a strong leader and to keep the right people on the bus and to get the wrong people off the bus. You notice it says wrong people. It doesn't say bad people. They may be a wonderful person. but they're just not right for this bus. They're not right for your band. They may be right for another band. In fact, you may be doing them a disservice by keeping them in your project because they're not flourishing there, because they're the wrong person for your bus. And they could flourish somewhere else if you would just stand up and say, you know what, respectfully, I just don't think this is where you need to be. I think you could flourish better someplace else. And best to you, and make that change in a respectable way. So nipping problems in the bud, that is a huge part of being a great, effective leader in your band, okay? There's going to be also stuff of songs you shouldn't be playing, technology you should be changing, other things that you should be, nipping in the bud and not letting grow. But usually it's a people problem. That is not fun. I've been there. I've done it. It sucks. I tried to avoid it. But I know now, 20 years later into my career, the more I let that grow, the worse it gets. So don't do that. When you see it and you know it, take action right now. And every book that you read, all these leadership books, will tell you the exact same thing. I'm not making this stuff up off the top of my head. This is stuff I've learned from those books and from the real world over the years. So nip things in the bud, even if it's not comfortable. It's better in the long run, okay? Okay, let's move on to a very practical thing. Payroll, accounting, and your calendar. Part of being organized and having clear communications is running a great payroll, running a great budget, running a great accounting, running a great calendar. Okay, we've got all those resources and a lot of details at naduniversity.com. You can take those courses, and all of those resources are in there to teach you how to do a lot of that stuff. I don't have time to go through the nuances all of it right now, but we have a really good calendar that keeps everything really highly detailed and allows me to use technology to communicate to my people, my players, my subcontractors, my first call people, my second call people, my third call people, people that substitute, and people that are my regulars. It keeps all of that organized and using technology to do that. And, people want to get paid. Speaking of getting paid, people need to know how much you're going to pay them before they show up for work. This sounds like a really dumb thing to say, and I just messed this up recently, and I couldn't believe it. After all this time, I still made this mistake, but I owned it. And when they said, hey, by the way, the gig's over, you didn't tell me how much I was being paid. So the first thing I did as a leader is I said, that's my fault. I apologize to you. I will never do that again to you. I told them how much it was. Everything was fine. And then I paid them. And then I said, by the way, for these next few shows, here is a detailed piece of information, email of how much you're going to get paid at each show. That's my job as a leader. I got busy, slipped through the cracks. I made a mistake, just like we talked about earlier, right? So payroll, accounting, a calendar, scheduling, all of that stuff is all about communicating and setting expectations. And people love working in a well-oiled machine that keeps all of that organized. And if you have somebody that's working with you and they're good at that stuff, let them help you. Let them help you grow into that technology or put that stuff together. We advocate a lot here, learning Enneagram personality traits 1 through 9. The reason that we advocate that for, there's real practical purposes behind that. If you have somebody in your band that is an Enneagram 3, they are going to have a propensity to be very organized and keep these projects sort of clean and in place, and get these systems in place for you. 6 might be able to do that as well. So learning that Enneagram stuff that we talk about helps you with that. Okay, so if you have somebody that's great at that stuff, have them assist you. You don't have to do everything. Part of being a great leader is delegating, right? But that's getting the right people on the bus, wrong people off the bus, and getting the people in the bus in the right seats. If you've got somebody who's an Enneagram 2, and if this is foreign to you, that's okay. Study it later. And their gifting is empathy and loving people and serving and helping. They may not be as good as being systems person as a 3 or a 6 or even a 5. So getting people on the bus in the right seats, I've seen a lot of leaders screw that up as well. They have somebody, it's a warrant. Churches do this all the time. Churches are notorious for it, and they really need to up their game with some of this stuff. We have a warm body. They're willing to help. And so we take someone who's not gifted and put them in a job that they're not gifted in and make them do that. And everybody's miserable. They're struggling. They're trying their best. They really are, but they're just not made for that. And we just put a warm body in there, and they're on the bus. They're the right person, but they're in the wrong seat. Okay? Can't do that. You have to take that extra step. Make sure that we are, to the best of our abilities, they'll never be perfect, but to the best of our abilities, are you marrying people to roles in your organization? Okay. Once they grow beyond, I play guitar, I play drums, or whatever they do, if they have secondary roles, which can be very helpful, are they in a role? Are they helping you with things that they're gifted or not gifted? Are they in the right seat on the bus? Last thing I'll say is this. Some of you, maybe many of you out there, you are very, and I'm going to kind of end how I began. You kind of shy away from the word leader, and you think of the word leader as the word dictator. You think of the word leader as the person who controls everybody. I want to totally flip that on its head for you. Okay. You need to be proud to be a leader. You need to be proud to be the leader. Why? Because a great leader serves. A great leader creates this wonderful environment and opportunities for everyone, including yourself. A great leader looks down the road and sees problems that people are going to run into that are going to cause problems and suffering. A great leader fixes those problems before these people run into them or before they even know that they were going to happen. A great leader goes in front of the people that they're working with, and a great leader sacrifices and serves the people around him or the people around her. That's what a great leader does. So when you think of it in those terms, you can be very proud. Say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to manage everything well. I'm going to do something that maybe a lot of folks can't or won't or just are not able to do. I'm going to lead this in a way that creates this wonderful opportunity for all of us. And I feel really good about that. So feel good about being a leader because you're looking at the word leadership correctly. So I hope all of that's helpful for you. If you know somebody, another artist that's leading a band that needs to hear some of this, hit that share button, send this video to someone else that really needs to hear this, and maybe we'll help them be a better leader. And let's go down the road less traveled together.